Alright, been a while since I put out a video because nothing's happening. Except I've got cats crying. Come on. I've done... They hear me talking and they come running. Anyway, I was trying to do research to see if there's been any research at all done on people with personality disorders who have dementia and how it affects their personality disorders, and I found absolutely nothing. So, clearly, that would be a good... can you see him? Nah, you can't see him. One of my cats is over there on a stone wall. Anyway, that would be a really good subject for research. The problem, of course, is you can't find avoidance to study. Not real ones. I mean, you got plenty of people who don't have avoidant personality disorder who really want attention, who are very willing to put their hands up and say, yeah, I'll be studied. But to actually pass, I keep hearing them in the woods. They don't want to be on the streets. It's fine. Cats, I'll turn around once and have like 3 or 4 hanging behind me. Anyway, so what else is going on? What else is going on with me is I'm going to take another trip, and I'm kind of expecting some shit for this, and people thinking I'm bonkers. Last trip I took, one of my cats got very sick after it, and it was diagnosis of stress, and I don't know, but I think being cooped up may have been part of it. My son is hell-bent on living his life the way he wants to live his life. And I had a cousin like that who would... Okay, so this cousin was not working, and she has 4 children, maybe 5, I don't know. And she wasn't working, and she would get kicked out of an apartment and get set up at a new apartment, and then go whining to churches to get furniture, and they would come with donated used furniture, and she would pitch a fit saying, well, no, I want brand new furniture. And I'm like, I don't understand that. My son is kind of the same way. He wants everybody to do everything for him, and he's just perfectly willing to sit back and wait until somebody steps up and does everything for him. And I might have put that in him, that thought process, because I used to do everything for him. Anyway, since I'm going to be out of town, and he's floating, and it's not going well. He's staying at a shelter, and a couple days ago, he got mad at somebody and kicked over a trash can. And then, when somebody told him to stop doing that, he yelled at the staff member, and he got thrown out. And it's like 18 degrees out. That's Fahrenheit, so that's like, I don't know, -5 maybe Celsius. And missed a meal because he gets all his meals at the shelter because he doesn't want to do anything else. I mean, he spends his money. He gets money. He spends it on, usually food. So he's constantly out of money. Even though he really, truly has no expenses, he doesn't have to pay any kind of rent. He has three meals a day. Oh, that's that one that's not mine. Who just likes me for some reason. Can't see her because she's black. I think it's a she. I don't know. Can't see her at all. Anyway, so I'm going to let him come back to my house while I'm not in town. The thing is that the last time I interacted with him, because he keeps sounding better until he sees me, and then he's a little rageaholic, and he can't help it. The last I was like, okay, well, I'm going shopping, and I'll just pick him up and take him with me and get him anything he needs or whatever. It was like a quarter of a mile down the road before he had his hands on me again. Driving again. It's like, kid, he can't help himself. So originally I was going to go pick him up and bring him to my house. That's not smart. So the plan is now that he can take a bus as close as it will get to the house, because, I don't live in a city, so that's like minimum of 5 miles away. That's probably closer to 10 miles away is the closest he could get using public transportation. And then he can actually do his grocery shopping. That's the other thing. He's going to need food because I won't be there and he can't drive. And then get an Uber to the house. Sounds perfect to me. But of course, he thinks I'm the most selfish person on the planet. That I'm not going to, door-to-door service for him. So, I don't know. I mean, do I feel guilty? Yes. Do I feel blame for this? No. Now, I feel blame for a lot of shit. And people who know me and like me, I guess, still will push the blame back on me for things to get away with them. Because it's automatic. Yes, a person with avoidant personality disorder will take the blame for just about anything. This cat obviously never comes this far. Is lonely and wanted a walk. There's somebody there. Come on, cat, let's go back. This dog, you don't want to deal with the dog. Come on, cat. Come on, cat. Anyway, I put this cat in a bad situation. See, this is what I mean. This is the blame I'm talking about. I take the blame for anything. I don't take the blame for my kid. I guess there's a point where you've been abused so much. How'd you get over there that fast? I suppose that's good to get away from that dog. Now you're stuck. You're in that fence. Like I said, there is a point that you will push past the avoidance and where it won't affect you anymore. Now, do I feel massively guilty about my kid? Yes. Do I take the blame for his choices that he's making now? No. Even though, and it's weird. It's like when he's pushing it onto me, here comes that little cat. That's when I can see it so clearly that no. It's really weird. It's like, it's definitely something that I have figured out over the years. And that I more or less did in therapy with not good therapists, but therapists that were so fucking frustrated with me. that they just could not understand. There goes that little cat. Probably up the tree. They couldn't understand why I think that way. And, throw up their hands and just be like, you're ridiculous, that sort of thing. And just cannot understand it. Well, but there's my boy. You want me to carry you? Do you want to walk? Come on. Come on. Come on. It's freezing out here. I mean, it's really cold out here. Oh, here comes the cat down the tree, huh? Is that what's spooking you? Oh my goodness. How about I pick you up? Okay, you're living out of that house now. All right. Anyway, so now I recognize it at all is a massive improvement. I see it very clearly when people try to push it back onto me. Which becomes a habit of people to say that I'm to blame for them. I mean, and without a doubt, the most annoying, frustrating one is people who try to sort of, come on, he's coming. They name check the avoidance and say, well, I'm going to disappear and not be a help for you and not be supportive of you because you're avoidant. And I'm like, what? What? When I'm not doing it myself, don't give in to that nasty bad habit of mine. There he is. I don't know. Because, if I'm able to not act avoidant, don't pigeonhole me and make me even more avoidant than I naturally am. You know what I mean? I'm sure that doesn't happen very often to you guys. I mean, again, I have been paying attention to this daily for a decade. So I really, really, really recognize this type of thing. I see it clearly when it's coming. I'm able to recognize it even when it's not being pushed on me. More and more and more and more and more. That the taking of blame for things. For example, I used to talk about this person a million years ago, a lot. And there's a person on forums. It's actually the reason why I stopped interacting on forums. I still read them from time to time. Who, like a bad penny, keeps popping up. And I was describing why it bothered me so bad as this. If you see somebody walking along and there's a giant hole and they're about to fall into it, if you see them and you don't warn them that there's the hole they're going to fall into, that makes you like a first-class dick. So I would feel responsible whenever this wonderful person would lay the traps, and I would see what was going to happen to some unsuspecting person who is believing the bullshit. I don't know where my cat is now. It's so cold out here. Anyway, and I'd feel guilty because I didn't warn them. They're like, what? How? We have nothing to do with you at all. Nothing to do with you. I know. But when you have been raised to feel like you're to blame for everything, and you're responsible for everything, you're not allowed to have any positive credit, but damn straight, if there's anything negative that at all happens, it's going to be turned around and you are going to be made to blame for it. Now that scapegoating is not 100% avoidant personality disorder. Here he comes. I don't know if you can see him. Hopping along. Come on, cat. It's freezing out here. But it's really common. It's really common. So it's kind of like the depression is not technically avoidant personality disorder at all, but it's really common when you have that personality disorder that you also get depression that's comorbid. There it goes. My little guy. You need a break? I don't blame you, cat. So yeah, that's what I've been going through. Have to plan my next trip. Which I haven't planned, but then again, the last one, it was like a couple days before when I nailed it down, and I had a hell of a trip, so I guess that's just my thing. It's like the last minute super planning is what I'm probably going to end up doing. Because I got to get stuff like, my life worked out. Like, how can I get my kid to come home so he can take care of the cats and not be out roaming the street when it's this fucking cold out, even though he's on the verge of getting himself kicked out of the place where he's staying, also without me having to interact with him. Can't see him. I don't know why I'm showing him to you. Oh, you can a little bit. That's what I'm dealing with. And not much else. I've been laying low. I keep catching the nasty little colds. That's another thing. I got to kick the one that I have right now because international travel with a cold is not something that people want to be dealing with at the moment. I definitely don't have a fever. I just have some stupid cold. But, normally you'd be thinking, oh, that's going to be hell on your ears going up and down on a plane 5 times in the next week. But considering there is a pandemic, or whatever they're calling it now, that is starting to spread throughout the world, and having cough is not a good situation. So that's among the reasons why I haven't been out making videos, because it's absolutely freezing and I'm trying to get 100% healthy. Here comes my boy. But also nothing's going on. And if I don't have anything to say, everything is status quo, I don't have any new fabulous insight about avoidant personality disorder, then there's really no point in making videos. So I don't. So I know this is like the worst time. I mean, this is, if you ever heard about the 5-year plan, like, this is the time. It's within the next 6 weeks is the time. And so far I have not pulled that trigger. That's a really bad way of putting it, but so far, and that was kind of the point, was to have 5 years to see if I could come up with anything that would make me not need to do that. And as far as like interacting with people, nope. But this going on these little trips for now is doing the trick. So I'm going to keep going on these little trips. I've got a little one planned for March, and I think I've got one which already paid for, and I've got a little one. See, here's another one of my boys. That's the one who never shows up on camera because he's such a good camouflager. He's getting weird in his old age letting me see him. And there's my little hop-along guy. And the next one would be probably April or May. If. So, there goes my guy. So I don't know. So anyway, that's why I haven't been making videos. It's probably not a good idea because of that plan and the timing. But again, if I've got nothing to say, then there's no point. So that's what's happening now. What's happening now is status quo, and try to figure out exactly what I'm going to do on my trip, other than try to go for a ride on a camel through the desert in Africa, which is literally the only thing I have planned. I've absolutely insanely have bought a desert tour, and everything else is open, which is fine. Just believe me, trying to walk around a city where I will not be able to speak to anybody and navigate it. Oh, that reminds me, I have to get a compass. It's one of the things that they suggest if you're going to the city, is to get a little cheap compass, so that you can figure your way around, because it's that confusing. Put that on the list. Go get a compass before I leave. Anyway, so I guess that's it, and I'll get these cats inside so they don't freeze to death. Bye.